So I think they have scored low with regard to the way the present government has handled the issue of herdsmen. They have not been very decisive. We know what they did with the Biafran agitators. We know what they did with the Boko Haram insurgents. We know what they did with the Niger Delta militants. So when it now came to issue of herdsmen, you don't brand them as terrorists. You now say it is not communal clash. That also angered Nigerians. You cannot call something different name, whose action gives a different definition. If somebody is terrorizing and killing a lot of people and all that, I don't know why you don't regard such as terrorism. Whereas people who are doing peaceful protests and saying certain things that you consider inimical, you call them terrorists. So I don't want that ambivalence, by pronouncement of government. Government ought to be decisive, must run Nigeria as one. So far, there has been some level of progress made in the fight, but it is not what some of us had expected. The government itself, prevaricated, made some mistakes initially with the fight. The government said, look, we are going to give this fight a total fight. Fine. And we all agree. Now, how did they start? They made a promise that they will publish the names of those who have even returned money. Now, the government made that promise to Nigerians and said, we will give you blow by blow account how the monies are being recovered. Now, we didn't get to see the names. Later, the same government that made promise of publishing the names of those who have returned money prevaricated, made a U-turn and said they are not going to publish names anymore. The same government also have not been able to tell us how much has been recovered so far. In terms of even houses and money, there has been no transparency in disclosure of all the things we have recovered so far. So it has not given that fight a push, from that angle. And also there has been allegations of some people who are in the government, in this present government also, who have been accused of corruption, where the government has not been decisive in dealing with it. Up to now, the former Secretary of Government, has not been arrested, has not been prosecuted. He has been left untouched. And you now want to convince people that you are fighting corruption. And then also in fighting that corruption, you have not observed the rule of law. There has been instances where pronouncement of the court is disobeyed. You observe it in breach, which is not good. If you are fighting corruption, you must also ensure that the rule of law is respected and observed, unless you want to run a military administration, which is not what is in place. So these are some of the setbacks we have suffered. And then the issue of conviction. Initially EFCC started off well, but now we are making so much mockery of the fight by publishing everything. Even when somebody has not been convicted, you will say the amount of money and give out all information with the media. Sometimes making a media trial of the entire serious matter, whereas the fight is supposed to be with the law courts. My problem is that who is alternative? Atiku cannot be an alternative. I'm sorry to say this. I've not had one-on-one with him, but I'm looking at antecedent. I'm looking at history. I'm looking at what he has done and what he has not done. He was once a vice president of this country, and I've heard him make statements. I heard him clearly when there was a strike by Nigerian Labour Congress over certain policy of government, and I heard what he said. What he said was not impressive. Atiku has not shown himself to be for the masses, by his pronouncement and action. Yeah, he may have employed a lot of Nigerians in employment and all that. Fine, that alone is not a criteria to judge you. Most of the things you do, most of the things you say when you are in government, will count against you, count in your favor. And then the kind of movement he has also done. The kind of movement he has done politically, from one political party, he said this one is the Messiah, next year he said another one is the Messiah and all that. So these inconsistencies in his attitude is a thing that they're actually not counting in his favor. For anyone to take Buhari out of government in the next election, that person has to show some level of integrity and righteousness above Buhari. Buhari still has supporters. There are people who believe in him. He has made his mistakes in this government and people have seen his shortcomings. But there are those who, despite his shortcomings, and say, look, I'd rather stick to this man for so reasons. He still has some virtues in him, virtues of integrity, virtues of honesty, virtues of not interested in acquisition of our wealth, our natural wealth and all that. Can we say so of all that people who may want to contest with him? So if I see somebody who is a better alternative to Buhari, I will stick to that person. But who is the person? And that question. It's a big question. Who will come and give Buhari a fight? And possibly for us to say, Buhari, go and sit down, you're an old man, let's give this person a chance. I want that person to come. But with Atiku, I don't know whether majority of Nigerians will actually give Atiku a chance. I'm just telling you. My Igbo brothers he may have majority of support from the Igbos. But what of the Hausa Fulani? What of the Yorubas? He needs all that in order for him to succeed. And so for anyone to actually take Buhari out of, Aso Villa in 2019, that person must have some level of virtue that is higher than that of Buhari. And I'm yet to see it in any of those who are already coming out. There may be somebody tomorrow, because with God all things are possible. There may be somebody that from nowhere, who we can sit down and look at what he has done and say, look, this person can be the president of this country, and he can run Nigeria competently, and he can make Nigeria to be the dreamland all of us have been actually dreaming. It can happen tomorrow. But for now, those who are already, masquerading, those who are coming out and showing themselves to be interested in 2019, I don't see them possessing that integrity. I don't see them possessing that capability. I don't see them possessing, that catchphrase, that will make people to, that cult, followership that will make Nigerians to say this is the person we go for. Buhari still has his support. He still has his support base. There is some level of integrity the man still has. He has some faults. He has made some mistakes. And I hope that he will listen to correct some of these mistakes. Because you cannot run a government and run an exclusive government and run government of your own people. No, you must make it inclusive and run it, and be personal. Develop attitude of IBB. IBB sees you, he addresses you, call you by name, and all that. Bring life to government. Are you following me? If you do that and correct all those mistakes and all that, and address people the way he addressed people on 1st of January, be friendly. Play the role of a father. Don't always, talk down. Don't always be antagonistic. Don't always be belligerent. Don't always be angry when you're talking to your children. Sometimes show them love. And when they see love in you, they will also reciprocate. When Buhari does all that, he has it. He has that character of integrity. And people still believe and rate him high with that issue of integrity. So I'm looking at who is going to come to actually, take Buhari out of Aso Villa. For now, Ubani has not seen any. I'm just telling you, with Atiku and all the rest of them that are actually, showing interest, I have not seen them possessing that thing that Nigerians like about Buhari that will make them now to look out, out of Buhari and say this is a man that can take Buhari out of Aso Villa. But it is nothing that is impossible. Any person can come tomorrow and Nigerians begin to gravitate to that person. But for now, nobody has actually impressed me as possessing the capacity and integrity level to oust Buhari from Aso Villa.
So far, Atiku is not articulate.
So far, Atiku has to do more in order to actually be articulated.